Alright, we have a whole long laundry list of Pokemon to go over with the Super Rod. So first off, we have everyone's favorite water type that Misty always had, Psyduck. Psyduck is a very decent special attacker. It's kind of slow, but you can't go wrong with having a Psyduck. And honestly, the only reason you should really go after one is nostalgia. And that's really the only reason I would recommend you to pick one up. Next up is Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl is I would say it's a pretty decent water type. You can evolve it right away if you find one. Or you can go back to Cerulean and trade it one for that Jynx, which we will go over later on in the video. But Poliwhirl is a very decent water type, I have to admit. So if you want a good physical water type, look no further than here. It's a great choice. Next up, we have Tentacool, aka the Zubat of the Sea. Yeah, if you're gonna be surfing in this game, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna run into a Tentacool. But actually, the good thing is that they're really good with the special defense. As in, even though they're water and poison, as you can see right there, it can take a psychic hit pretty well, I have to admit. So if you want something that's really good in the special defense, and a good water type, look no further than here. I would highly recommend you to pick one up if you need a good special defensive water type. Up next is Slowpoke. Now we've been able to fight these guys for quite a while, but now we're able to catch one if you want. So I would recommend you to not go for one. As the name implies, it's very slow, but it's decent in the water and psychic field. So it's painfully average, I guess. Next up is Slowpoke's evolved form, Slowbro. Same thing kind of applies here. It's very slow, but it kind of specializes a little bit in special defense in a way. So again, I wouldn't even entertain the thought of picking one of these guys up. Just don't even bother. Up next, we have Shellder. Shellder is actually a kind of a decent Pokemon, I have to admit. It's got really good physical defense, because, it learns a lot of moves like Harden and Withdrawal and, stuff like that. So if you need a water type that's really, good defensively, Shellder is a great choice. And here's a little fun fact for you. Shelders are tougher than a low-fiber poo, so keep that in mind. Up next is Krabby. Krabby pretty much is a decent physical fighter, I have to admit. So if you need a really good physical water type attacker, I guess Krabby is a good choice. Although, since Ash had one in the anime, so it kind of gets a little bit more points on that one. Up next is Krabby's evolved form, Kingler. Again, same rules kind of apply with this one. However, it's a little bit more sturdier and more tougher, so its physical power is a little bit more balanced, as in good physical attack and pretty decent physical defense. So you need something that's like that, and Shellder's not, for you, then I guess you can't go wrong with this one. And again, Ash's Krabby evolved into Kingler in the first battle it ever did in the Indigo League. So yeah, there's some cool nostalgia points for you right there. Up next we have Horsea. Horsea is pretty much known as the fast water type that's mainly uses bubble attacks. Like just bubble, water gun, bubble beam, smoke screen, stuff like that. So if you need a good fast water type, Horsea's your guy. Don't worry guys, we're almost done. Up next we have Horsea's evolved form, Seadra. Again, same thing kind of applies with this one. Real fast, likes to use a lot of bubble attacks along with water gun and smoke screen. And even though it can evolve into the almighty Kingler, not in this game. Gotta wait until the next game for that one. So it's, decent and, fast. So, Up next we have Seaking, which is the evolved form of Goldeen. Now, it's a, basic generic goldfish. And kind of the same thing kind of applies with Goldeen here. It's a decent water type. So I wouldn't even recommend you entertain the thought of this one. But, if you want to be unique and have something kind of, odd, I mean, I guess that'd be the only reason I would recommend you to pick one of these guys up. And last up here we have Staryu. Now Staryu is actually a very good, fast, and powerful special attacker. If you need a very fast special attacker, Staryu is probably one of the better water type choices you can go for. You know, you can even evolve it right away if you bought yourself a water stone from the Celadon department store. So, you know, if you want a good special attacker and it's, you know, fast and a water type, Staryu is your guy. And also, Starmie is a lot better. Alright, we have two new Pokemon here on this route, and they're both version exclusives. So first off, in red, you have Gloom, which is the evolved form of Oddish. Now, like how I said about Oddish a long time ago, it is, you know, has really good special attack, but it's very, very slow. But, I mean, if you need a decent Grass and Poison type, if you're playing red and you didn't start out with Bulbasaur, I guess you can't go too wrong with this one. But again, like how I said before, it's really slow. And if you're playing blue, you can get the counterpart of Gloom, Weepinbell, which is the evolved form of Bellsprout. Now, like how I said about Bellsprout a long time ago, it's a pretty decent mix attacker, but it's, you know, it's kind of fast. It's kind of average, I would say. So, if you need a Grass and Poison type and you didn't pick Bulbasaur, I guess you can't go too wrong with this one. What I will say is that even though it is a, you know, like I said, a decent mixed attacker, you have to invest into a lot of TMs into it. So if you don't want to do it, just pass on this one. Alright, on this route you only have one new Pokemon, and it's, you know, the horror himself, well, later generations, Ditto. Now, Ditto's only attack in this, well, pretty much its only attack in general is Transform, which means it'll transform into whatever Pokemon is, you know, going up against it as its opponent. But it's really a situational use, really. I wouldn't even recommend going after this one, even if you wanted one. Alright, here on Route 14, you only have one new Pokemon, and it's Pidgey's evolved form, Pidgeotto. Now, our rival has used one, you know, throughout the game. But, you know, it's now a Pidgeot. The Pidgey line is kind of decent. They're not too bad, but also not too good. So they're decent. But, honestly, if you want a good normal flying type, I would recommend you to get either a Fearow or a Doduo at this point in the game. More emphasis on Doduo because it's real, you know, fast. But, you know, Pidgeotto is decent, I guess. Alright, we can finally talk about this one. If you go to Cerulean City and trade the guy a Poliwhirl, he will give you a Jynx. Now, this is the only Jynx you can get in the entire game. So, if you want something that's, you know, really good, strong, special attack, this would be your guy. However, since it's also part Ice type, along with it being a Psychic type, it's really frail. So, you got yourself pretty much a glass cannon. So, yeah, be wary of being hit by a physical attack. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this one. But, you know, it's unique, so you can pick one up.